atong discussion. So kanina set up everything. Ayan. And then this time about your ayan. So good morning everyone. Welcome back. So again, for the information of everyone, I have recorded our session today para you can always go back to our discussion, and you will have an idea about, or if ever you want to go back to, or there are things that you will it needs clarifications, at least you have something, or yeah, you have something to go back and to review on. Okay, so again, with regards to the projects, I'm not going to discuss it for now. Probably by in the couple of days, or if by chance, no, next week na lang, kasi that's the probably the time we are going to be complete na. Okay, so but expect na there are submittals and deliverables per week. So mauna pa kasi paspas ato ang what they call this one, paspas ato ang mga buhaton dire. Okay, so now as I've said, most definitely, if you try to look at your ERC ba yan? ERC, you will have there object-oriented programming. No? So when you've heard of object-oriented programming, I've been talking this a lot, no, uh, during your our programming too, because this object-oriented programming concepts is actually one of the most important concepts in programming. You know, if you started to, learn about programming, so those things that we have done in programming 1 and programming 2 are just parang starter, no. It's enough for you to write codes on your own, to develop your logical thinking and analysis, to uh, provide solution to a problem, simple problems, simple solutions, and it's actually basically a structured programming, no? Procedural programming, structured programming. You're also going to have your programming paradigms or programming languages paradigms. So it's also a course. So ma-discuss ninyo na siya, different types of programming paradigms. So one of the programming paradigms is this object-oriented principles. So it's basically it's about what they call this one, objects, no? Now, this is really the real deal in IT. So that is why medyo naano ko when I've heard na it's only offered in the summer, and then medyo pas iyang sana na paspas ang pacing sa summer kasi. So medyo underrated for me, no. It's underrated ang pagplastar sa kanina subject in the summer, kasi this must be something that really the students must learn. Okay, kasi if you guys have heard of advanced mga programming, no, na mga subjects like mga C sharp, .NET, even mga web programming, mga Python, and all this mga programming languages, they are actually a full-blown OOP. So to give you an idea about what is this OOP is all about, is that this is not a programming language. Okay? I mean, please don't confuse about object-oriented programming. Is this a core? Is this a programming language? No. So when kung napansin niyo sa programming 1 na to, actually sa other, I've been into many different universities and colleges, no. Naka part-time ko, and then but dito ko mas nagdugay sa UM. And then among plotting ana would be programming 1 is parehaan ni C++, tapos programming 2 is Java, and then OOP, ayan, and then data structures. So ang gibuhat namo is for IT people, gi-remove na ang C++. So instead gipulihan siya programming 1, then after which kuanan og programming 2, which is in continuation sa Java, and then programming 3, which is OOP, which is still a Java language. So inana ang yang transition. So I mean, wala man ta nag-ano na C++ is kanang C++ importante magyapon na ma-learn ninyo, no? It's another language actually, but it's for more on of, I'm not saying na pang IT lang, but it's more on of the comsci thing. Okay? Kasi most likely mga comsci lang ang kasagaran nagagamit ana sa kana na language because of its structure or its medyo ang ihang yang style sa coding. And then yeah, lahi jud siya, different ano sa approach every school. Then here in MCM, we are actually using Python for our programming 1 and programming 2, and for our OOP, we are using still Java. So medyo lahi pod ang alignment niya. But anyway, here in John Paul, at least you have known 2 different programming languages, and we are not going to deviate it. Okay? Let's leave it there. Nakabalo mo og C++, nakabalo mo og Java, and now for OOP, we can actually use C++ and Java, no? So I mean, pwede na to gamiton ang C++ in OOP, pwede na to gamiton ang Java in OOP. As I've told you, or as I've said, object-oriented principle, it's just a concept. It's not a programming language. Always remember this one, that this is a platform independent. I'm not a platform independent, I mean program independent. Okay? So I mean Java and C++ languages are platform independence, but when I talk about program independency, it's that it does not depend on a certain language. In fact, historically, when we talk about OOP, the first language who introduced OOP was C++. Okay? It was said that C language, but mas full-blown siya dito sa C++. With Java, siya man gud ang nisikat, okay, mas dominant, or shall I say mas well known, no, popular na programming language that properly introduce this concept na OOP. So maunang, most of the schools are actually using Java as their object-oriented principles na language. Actually, we can choose like of any. Like we can use VB.NET, we can use C#, as I've said, no, we can use C++, we can even use C, and we can even use Python. Okay? Pero ang nakatatak naman guna na when we say OOP, moingon din sa it's Java inyong gamit. So most likely inana jud na ang ano nila. But again it's only a matter of choice. kana lang jud ang inyong i-remember always. So when we talk about OOP, it doesn't always follow na Java. We on Java or programming language or PL is only a choice. Okay? So choice lang na siya. It means pwede gyapon nimo ma-apply ang kanina mga concepts to any programming language. Okay? So do you follow? Nakuha ko ninyo guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
All right. So that's good. Okay, so let's get started. Now, I'm pretty much sure, no, na actually pwede ta naman ko VS Code, pwede ta magamit og VS Code, but we've been using eclipse already. So mag-eclipse na ta. Now, let's start with user-defined classes. Okay, user-defined classes. So, ay, ako ato sa ning himo sa tag project 2556B. Yan. All right. So let's go and click finish. Ayan. And then we just don't create a module. Okay. So by the way, for those who are new, uh, I always jump directly to coding. I don't do much PowerPoint or PPT. I am going to leave it with you. So mag-provide lang kog mga PowerPoint, mag-provide lang kog mga resources. It's for you to read on. But in terms of the discussions, I am direct to the point. I always go directly with the coding. No? So hindi rin ako i-discuss tanan. I mean, if not all, I mean, of course, no, there are things that I will forget, but uh, I mean, there are things that I will forget, so that's why there's SCP to support that learning, and there's also PowerPoint to gain mga terms, no? So if ever na dili ninyo ma-follow ang mga terms na mga or mga concepts, so na-added to sa SCP and sa PowerPoint. But with the coding, I'm more into what they call this one. I jump directly into coding, no? So I hope okay mo ana. Okay? All right. So, tagaanta mo idea about OOP. We are not yet with the in the OOP ha. So, in ano yung idea sa object-oriented programming? So, if you can think or if you can imagine, we are actually surrounded with objects. And if you try to like get the idea of where this OOP influence or what is this what is the idea that influenced OOP as a concept in the way we write programs or the way we write codes is that makita na to first term or first word in that concept is object, no? Object. Yan. So plus oriented meaning it's written in a manner of object oriented. So, yan, object. So, if you can imagine, tanaw nimo ang inyong surroundings, you're surrounded with objects. Okay? So, tanawa inyong kilid-kilid dira. Okay, tanawa inyong environment. If you are in your living room, if you are in your bedroom, you will see your blanket, you will see your bed, you will see your perhaps no you are in front of your computers right now or your PC or your cell phone or your laptop. You have the table, you have the chair, you have the if you're using your headset or what. So these are objects. Okay, makita nimo sa inyong surroundings where you are in right now. You are everything that you touch, everything that is seen by a human eyes are all objects. And objects can be abstract and can be concrete. So what do you mean by abstract, sir? So it's something that is cannot be seen, cannot be touched, but it's uh, something that's virtually or something that's it doesn't it cannot be touched or it cannot be seen mo ng mga abstract na mga objects, no? So it could be an event, no? Pwedeng ganun, pero usually pag may tag object concrete jud siya. Okay, makita nimo magunitan, no? Mga tangible items, cellphone, um, chair, table, monitor. No, if your PC doesn't have a built-in camera, you will buy a camera device, attach it with your computer, and that's another object. So see, we are all surrounded with objects, and that's what object-oriented programming is. We are dealing with objects. Okay, so if maybe you don't follow, or you might not follow, or then don't understand yet. Think of your code as an objects. Now think of everything that you write as an objects. Okay, and when when you have these objects in your in your surroundings, you can make it like work together. Okay, just like what I've said, I have let's say I have my PC doesn't have a built-in camera. So what I will need to do is I'm just going to buy a camera and then attach it to my computers, and there I can now use that camera to make myself visible, to use that camera for whatever purpose it is going to serve. Okay, another thing is that I have a pencil, I have a pen, apple pen. I have a pencil. Let's say for an example, I have a pencil and I have a notebook, or I have a paper. So these two things are actually separate. I mean, they are they work together to achieve a, because they all have different purpose, but they work together to achieve a specific goal. And what is it? We use pen to write on the paper. So, and but they are off, and they are actually in different objects. So that's how object-oriented programming works. So meaning to say, you're going to create different objects here in your program, and you make it to work together. So inana ang object-oriented programming. Okay? So I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to push now na masabtan, but that's how it is going to work for OOP. So I just hope na ano na niyo. So the four basic principles of OOP are encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. So mo nang upat ka OOP concepts, no? Upat ka OOP, or basic principles of OOP. We call it the four pillars of OOP, no? Four pillars, because if one is not present, the OOP is, or the concept per se, or the concept itself, is not going to stand on its own if one will be taken away from that concept. So naadyo na sila dapat upat, no? It's either you, what do you call this one, I mean, you implement it. When you implement it, it's there. It's your codes are intact in a way that once it implements this particular OOP, or object-oriented principle na concepts. Okay? And that is the core of our course, no? That is what I am going to discuss to you, no? The different principles of OOP. Okay? So now, I'm going to head back to our to Eclipse, no? So we're going to discuss about. So I'm not going to review basic concepts sa programming. I know you have already a background on it. So let's start with the para you are going to, understand the idea of OOP. Let's start with the idea of uh, user defined classes. Okay? So I'm now going to create a class. So I hope everyone is going to follow, as this is the only way you can learn best, no? I mean, by just watching it, or by just watching this one, you cannot learn anything. No, it's because we have seven senses. Seven ba? O basta daghan tag senses, no? Natay mga sensory skills. If you're only going to use your sense of hearing, that won't work. Okay? So meaning naminaw lang mo. tulog, luckily, no? Fortunate tayo kung naminaw. How about nag-headset pero natulog og balik? So mo na mo na problema nato dira. Okay? So we are given sensory skills, no? Daghan kay tag senses. So I hope you are not only going to use your sense of hearing. You can also use your sense of imuhang motor skills, no? Kailangan ninyo siya i-try, i-execute. Mo ni pinaka-importante, that's the best way to learn programming. Dili enough na imuha lang siyang i-tanawon or paminawon. Okay? Excuse me. Is everyone naa ba mag-follow, mag-program? Or sa phone lang? Oh, pwede. NetBeans, pwede. Pwede ra, no problem with NetBeans. Medyo bugat-bugat man ang NetBeans. Pero, okay ra na. Sige. Pila na lang ta. Ganina daghan ta karon gamay na lang. So, user, let's say we are going to have this one as, let's say, sample na basic ano na lang. My class. Okay. So I'm going to create a class here. So my class, yan, and then finish. And then I'm going to create another class. So let's say I have here a test main class. Then this is where I am going to write my main. So if you can observe, I have two classes here. Okay. So the name of the classes are number one, respectively, no, my class and main class. Yan. So I will make this one work together. Okay, so the the main class is where you can see your, of course, your public static void main, and in Java, that is what it is going to look for. So if no matter how many classes do you have right here, if you don't have public static void main, then your program won't work. I mean, it works, but your program won't run or won't do anything. So because this is the only thing that it has to look for. No, bisan pag namoy 100 of classes dira tapos wala kay public static void main sa kato ng mga classes, then therefore dili na siya mo run. Okay? And I also have another class here. It doesn't have anything here, no, na mga classes or anything na like it doesn't have anything yet. So we're going to make this one connect with each other. Okay? So now we can connect this together by doing relationships, no? So syempre, kailangan sila magkaroon og relationships. That's like we humans. In order for us to work together, we should introduce ourselves. Tama ba? I mean, dili sa relationship na uyab dayon ha, di ba? Like friends, that's a relationship. In order for us to develop no relationship or to create relationships, we'll have to know each other. So one must introduce the yourself to the other or to someone or to somebody. Like ako, teacher, student. So teacher and student relationships. Okay? So we have to know each other and then develop a whatever we are going to develop. And that's how the relationship started. Okay? So for the classes, one must introduce its name to the other class. So karon ang ano ani is, let's assume that uh, I am this and you are this one. Okay? or you are this one or I am this one. So other way around or vice versa. So now, in order for us to know each other, I would need to I would need to introduce myself here, or you would need to introduce yourself here. Let's say, what's the name of the class there? My class. So you have here my class. Okay. Let's say object. Okay. So object na. Object akong gigamit. Equals new my class. So this is now what I say about introducing. No? Nag-introduce na siya. No? So, nag-introduce siya na si my class. I am introducing myself to the main class. Okay? So what is in it for me for this class? As for now, it doesn't have anything yet. Like wala pa siya nag-open up, no? Nag-introduce pa lang siya, but he or she never opened up anything to this class. Okay? So probably this class might have a skills, might have a personality, might have things, no? Pero for now, they are not that yet close enough na uh, pwede na niya magamit unsay naa kay my class. So because that's this they just introduce themselves together, no? Right? So now we have here but I mean introduction or introducing yourself is technically what we called about instantiation. So, mo na ang technical term niya, instantiation. So, you are now instantiating yourself to this class that I am introducing myself to this class and I am creating object. Okay? So, this is, shall I say, an object. So, anything that we declare, okay, anything that we declare with the class is an object. Okay? Nagkasinabot ta? Say tawag na to ato. Sige daw, let me call in Errol Martilino. Unsa to kong giingon? Errol?
Sa ano sir, introduction sa may class sir.
Mm. Then, unsa man ay unsay pasabot ani?
Sir.
Kani.
Mm, objective sir, sa ano sir, sa dito sa main class sir.
Okay, sige.
Or introducing sir.
Okay. Sige. I-reiterate na ko ha. So, this is the beginning of the relationship with each other. Actually, natay tawag ani relationship. Pero dili sa nako i-open up sa inyo ha. No? So, this is how classes introduces each other. Okay? If ato siyang i-ano into humans, we can say na, let's say, this is Jilin Amora and this is me. So, anak ko kay Jilin Amora. Hi, Jilin Amora. I am Marcel Baste. Uh, uh, would you mind if we're going to go on a sa ba, sa mandapit, oh, tarong nga sir, to go to library and study, oh, di ba, ana. So, introduce na self, something like that. So, you can do that, no? And by means of this is you already. Okay? So, isa na ni sa imong version. Now, this can be anything. Okay? So, remember the rules in naming variables. Okay? So, kanin lang jud inyohang unahon anohon mas dapat maanohan variables kabalo na mo sa variables used to hold data or values. Okay? So mo na inyohang mao man na inyohang identifiers, right? Okay? Now, variable can be just a variable, or I mean a variable can just be a an object or can be primitive. Okay? So di ba natay ginatawag na primitive variables, primitive variables and natay ginatawag na reference variables. So in our previous programming 1 and 2, most likely we use this one, no? Mga na primitive variables. Though I'm not saying that this is the only thing that we use. We also use reference variables. But for now, I mean for with there, most likely we use this one. But in here, we are not only going to or limited to use primitive variables. We have reference variables. So we can say that this one also is going to store data or values. So this is, shall I say, a variable, but most likely this is what we call reference variable. It's no longer primitive variables because the only that is only primitive variables if it is defined by a primitive type. Let's say num. So this is a primitive type, then therefore this is defined by a primitive variable. Okay? So inana. All right. Now let me continue. So most definitely basta kita ganin mo new. That is instantiation. That means you're creating an object. Ana lang na siya ka-simple. Okay? Instantiating or creating an object. Sige, mangutana ko. Diane Marie Ramirez. Sa to kong giingon earlier, Diane?
Yes, sir. Pag
Mm.
makita kag new kay meaning mag-create kag object.
Very good. Okay, you're listening. So thank you. So pag makita mo new, that means you're creating an object. There's more to that, but that is one concept that you should always remember. Create ka kung nagay ko new, that means I am creating an object, and that is what we call instantiation. Okay? So ayan, we cannot do that in primitive types. No, we cannot do that in primitive variables. So see, this is now the beginning of what I say object-oriented programming. But we're not there yet, no, sa upat ka principles. So, ano pa lang ni siya, para impression pa lang na this is in-anid ay ang object-oriented programming. Okay, so now, na mga rules sa OOP, mao to atong i-discuss po, no, ng mga, unsa to na mga rules. Now, basic rules, same with the rules in naming variables. So, dili siya pwede mag-start with number, dili siya pwede na special characters, no? So, except for dollar sign and underscore, but with at sign, you cannot declare it, the object with that. Okay? So, dili siya pwede na space, something like that. So, and most importantly, kaning object is dapat mag-represent ni sa imong class. So, let's say, my class, you don't have to name it as an object. Let's say, I want to name this as, let's say this my class is mm, MC. No? So my class MC is equal to my class. All right. Now, what if I'm going to create another class and I will say student? Yeah, student. Okay. So now I have three classes now. I have three classes here in my program. I have my class, I have main class, and I have student class. Let's say I'm going to introduce student in this class. I will say student. Let's say this is Myla. So Myla equals new student. So Myla now is introducing herself into this class. So I have here, I can say that this student is Myla. Okay? But of course, this is too specific. And this is not a good name. But it's okay. It doesn't matter. No? So this is what we call, I mean, this doesn't this doesn't change the fact that this is still an object, but this is too specific. Okay? So unsay dili specific, sir? I can name my student to let's say stud, which is short for student. And this is now general. Kabalo ba taon sa general o specific? Myla? Myla? Myla Sparagosa, are you there? Paging, Myla Sparagosa? Oh, wala, natulog ni. Antonig bangkiruhan ng namalingki. Myla! Myla! Myla?
Hindi na magana yung mic, sir.
Di mo gana iyang mic. Asa man eh? Si Myla. Myla, I'm calling you. Chat ka, Myla. Di mo gana iyang mic daw? O, mao lagi na.
Yes, sir.
Di mo gana. O, daghan kay reasons. O, sige. Dirita kay Lindon, Tabinas. Where are you?
Yes, sir.
Sige. So, Lindon, what do you mean by specific and what do you mean by general? I mean, based on what you've seen in 5 and 6, unsay ma-observe nimo so far? Unsay na-observe nimo sa duha?
Ang Manila, sir, is kanang person, ang student, kay murag nga, kuhan, sir, kanang, kuhan, sir, baka ng groups, murag nga na.
Very good, no? So, basically, ang Myla is kung sa English pa na, no? Sa English pa, ma-call na to ang Myla as a proper noun, tama? No? Proper noun or a value itself, right? Ang stud is a collective noun. It does not say or it does not mention a specific name of a student. But again, there's nothing wrong with this one. Only that it's too specific, while the other one is it's general. And if you're going to ask me about, sir, which one is good? Of course, I would choose this one. Okay? But you can actually use this one. I mean, there's nothing wrong about it. But this is too specific. So, pangit na sir, pag too specific, dili man. Pero like, if this is if you're going to create more objects of this student, like if I say I am going to create, let's say, Jilin Amora, it's good, right? It's actually good because I can create Myla, I can create Jilin, and I can create more students in this class. In fact, I can also create Diana here, and which is specific. This is Myla, this is Jilin, this is Diana, and when I call this, I can call by their names. Okay? That's good, no? However, pag mag-array naman gud ta or i-array nato na siya, probably kung mag-array man gud ta, every object has its own index now. And if I'm going to make Myla as an array, therefore, there are many Mylas. No, daghag Myla. If mag-array si Jilin, daghag Jilin. If mag-array si Diana, daghag Diana. And you cannot you cannot make them group together now. Instead of stud, no? So if i-array na ko ni, since kabalo man to sa array, index based, so imo na ko ning stud, let's say stud 1 is si Myla, stud 1 is si Jilin, student Diana is si Diana, at stud 3 is si Diana, something like that. Do you follow? Na sabtan ko niyo guys. Hello? Do you guys follow?
Paspas na kayo, sir.
Paspas na kayo. Pagani ko nag-program, paspas na.
Na-late ko sa ano, sir, sa pag-encode, sir.
Okay. So, sige lang. I mean, again I have three classes here. My class, the student class, and the main class, where I meet all of my classes. So now, balik ta din sa main class. Let's say, maghimo ko diri og string, string, string name, and then I also have here int age. And then I say I'm going to create here public void message. Okay? So now if you try to observe, this my class is now a class that separately work without even compromising the other classes. What do you mean by that, sir? Meaning, I can work here by myself. I can work alone without uh, asking anybody's help, without asking student, without asking my class. So if let's say these are two or three separate other entities, like lahi ni sila ng mga entities. So kani siya can stand alone, can stand on its own without the help of this one. Okay? So and I'm going to put here, let's say, hello programmers, or hi there I am, or something like that. Okay? And now, and I'm going to have here int age is equal to, let's say, 20. Or let's say we have here my name is equal to Myla. Okay? So I have this values right here in my class or in this class. Now, if I'm going to go back to my main class, under that my class is actually an MC object. Okay? Kasi my class is MC. Si student, Myla, Jeline, Diana, and stud. Now, if I'm going to call MC, so MC dot, I can call age, name, and even message. So meaning to say, when I introduce myself to this class as an MC, I can make my main class know me more of myself by sharing all this what I have here. Okay? So I can say that I have here MC dot age. I have here MC dot name. So MC dot name, MC dot age. So butang nako dira. Yan no? So mao na ang mabutang diha, and then I will say let's say MC dot message. So now whatever I have owned here, since I make relationship with main class as I am the my class, I can now make this main class use my whatever I have there in my ownership. So now, when I'm going to run main class, I have here Myla 20 hello programmers. Okay, sige. Before I will proceed, is there any question? Na question?
Wala na, sir.
Wala. So nakuha.
Sir.
Okay, very good. Kung nakuha man. Sige. So now, that is it, no? That is how user-defined classes are created. As easy as that. So they can work. They can actually work with each other all alone without compromising each other's like capabilities or what. Or I mean, pag may tag compromise, di ba? It's like saying, okay, you can create you can do whatever you want to do with your life. I will not compromise. O di ka mangialam, wala because we have our own lives. So dili ko mangialam sa imuha. Okay. So now, let's go back here to student. Okay? So I will have here, let's say, diri ko magbutang string name. So butangan na po na ako gender. And I will have here int age. Okay? And then I will have here a method. So public void, let's say, display. So dili na ko i-display ang name. So name is, let's say, name. So we have gender and then we have age. So gender and then we have age. Okay. So I have here display. And this is a method. Okay. This is what we called non-value returning method. Here, returning method. Okay, public void display non-value returning method. So now I have this here, the normal variables. Okay, so variables or your identifiers. So dili siya dili siya object kasi di siya reference. Okay, so although kating name and gender reference ni siya, but sige, let's make it as like variable, no? Variable declarations, no? So variable declaration. Then I have the method. Ayan. Okay, so now an object-oriented programming follows this idea. You have the class, you have the object, and you have the method. So in order for you to create or to implement OOP, you'll have to know this. Although we haven't discussed the principles of OOP, but you are already introduced with that. So you have the class, you might have the object, and you have the method. Okay? So like here, if mubalik ko dire, I have the class, which is the name, the student, and then followed by the object, which is Myla. Okay, and if you can look for this one, I have here the method. If you still don't follow, I have here the class. Ang name sa akong class si my class, and then MC is the object, and then where's the method? My class or this one? This is a method calling. Okay, so that is it. Now I'm going to erase all this one. Let's focus on these two classes, student and main class. Okay, so I am going to give you a break, like 15 minutes break para maka water break, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, maka water break sa ta. So please do water break, and for now, I am going to, so kani ato ang buha anong kanilang sa atong ano ron i-focus main class and student. Again ha, so main class and student. So yes. Okay. So sa mga wala ka follow, please para mas maka-follow mo, please do this one sa inyong computer. So I'll give you 5 minutes na break. So 9:59, we'll go back at 10:05. Okay? 10:05. All right. Wait for a while.
Dili mo mahaw.
Hello guys, I'm back. Hello. Hello everyone. Hello.
Hi, sir.
Hello Jeline. Hello. Sige. So sorry for what it sorry for taking some time no na clarify ang HR. Anyway, uh it's beyond your ano. So I'm going to continue with our discussion. So I will just I'm going to cut this one, cut you off until 10:30 because I'll need to comply the requirements from HR so that I will be cleared kay na ay mga wala na ay butang na need to na ay kailangan i-clarify. So please give me time for that. Anyway, let me um, continue. So right here, I have here the classes, no? Again, dito ta sa main class and class students. So we have class student, string name, gender, age, and then we have here this one. And then when I'm going to create an instance of here of this class, let's say I have here Jilin, new student. So this is instantiation. I can now call the let's say Jilin dot yan, no? So, let's say display. So, I can call Jilin.display. So, when I call Jilin.display, it displays null, null, and age is 0. Why? It's because I don't have any value for Jilin unless I have two options here. Either I will put here, let's say Jilin, and then let's say female, and let's say 20. And then when I display this right here, so I have here Jillian, female, and 20. Another option of like giving value to the variables, no, or to name, gender, and age of Jillian would be coming from here or would be done here. So we have here Jillian that I say name is equal to, let's say, Dali. All right. So if I have like Dali here, if I'm going to run this one, the only thing that is changed is Dali instead of Jilin. So although here is Jilin, is the value initialized to name, the gender and female and age are not being changed right here. So it's changed actually here. So instead of Jilin, the value that is displayed is Dali. Okay, so that is it. Now, if I do continue like Jillian that gender, if I'll say this Dali is like a male person and that age is like let's say sorry, age is let's say 21, something like that. So when I click display, when I click run, I would have displayed Dali male and 21. So this is the value that is being followed instead or rather than this one. So now anything that you do here will be of course displayed because as according to our display functions or method, it displays the value name, gender, age. Although si Jilin atong gi-assign diri and female and 20, but we take over here the change of the object, no? So the change of the object that says that Jilin will be changed to Dali, male, and 21. So that's why I've told you about this one is too specific. Okay? So too specific that if anytime I'm going to change the name to Dali or to name to Myla and the name of the object here is Jilin, so it's too specific. So mas okay tong general, no? General name. So you have general name, so stud. So since like Jilin are student, Jilin and Dali are students, therefore it would be better if what happened here? It would be better if you use the name to represent the class, which is student. So when you run this one, it's the same. Only that you're not using a too specific na name. Okay, I'm not saying it's not good, but it's better to name your object into a general, no? So like as I've said, no, katong noun that the object that represents this student. So like stud, no, everyone is student. So if I say I have let's say stud one, okay, so meaning to say I have here stud one, I'll have here stud one, I'll have here stud one, and another is I have here stud one. So now if I'm going to create another stud two, so let's say I have here let's say stud two. So of course I'll just have to use that object stud to now. So this time I can change this to let's say Myla to Myla. Okay, something like that. And then she's a female and let's say 19. So when I display, I have here the values of Dali and Myla. So yeah, that's it. So now, if you're going to ask me, sir, what's the take of this one? Unsay take away na ko ana? Like it doesn't change the fact that I can even without this class, I can do that. I mean, I can do that even I don't I don't design my program to be that way. Okay? So yes, if I'm going to answer that, yes, tama ka, no? So if you have that confusion on your head na wala unsay difference ana like pwede naman ko wala na ning student and then I have my codes right here. So yeah, of course, you can have your codes from here, everything from here. No, you can have your codes everything from here to right here. So madungagan siya ginana. And then of course, it's like you have a lot of codes inside of your class. So that's one way to actually eradicate the idea of having a lot of codes in your program. But not only that, there are actually a lot of benefits, and that's only one. No, so little by little, as time goes by, you will appreciate that. So if you're going to take input from the user, of course, you can take from J option pane, you can take from, let's say, you can take it from scanner. So I'll have, let's say, J option pane here. So J option pane that show input dialog. So enter name. Yan. So the good thing about this is that you are able to separate the idea of uh, like taking inputs, no, and also displaying, no, stud one that display. It's being hidden in the student class. So let's say we have gender, and then you'll have here an age. So integer that parse int, and then I'll have here enter age, something like that. So now, if I say if I run the program, I would have here enter name, let's say Martzel, male and 25. So I will have here, as you can see, Martzel, male and 25. And that's the idea of user-defined classes. And this will become powerful if and only if you're going to like change your student class. You can do so much more in the student. In fact, you have the inputs here. You can actually have the inputs instead of having inputs right here. You can actually have the inputs instead here. How is that possible, sir? So all you just need to do is um, either take this one out, okay, and then you can have something like here public void input, okay, and then uh, put here the let's say G option pay. Yeah. So just change this to like name. This one is to, I mean, erase this stud one because we don't have any object of the of that. No, I mean the stud one is actually the object of main class right here. You have name, gender, age. So this is now the input, and this is how this is the display. So meaning to say, instead of having that code right here earlier, you can just have something like that one. So input and stud1 dot display. So with that, if you're going to run your program, so you'd have here, so let's say Steve Harrington, okay, male, 25. So if you're going to display it, so you have here Steve Harrington, male, age, and Myla. Yeah, Myla, because we set Myla here as a student too. So as see, you're able to lessen or minimize your codes into something like this one. So this will become powerful if we implement uh, array in this class. And that's what we are going to discuss. But again, as I've told you, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to cut our classes for now because I'll need to do some things for my clearance in HR. So I'm afraid that would be it for now. Is it okay? Hello, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige.
Yes, sir.
So, I'll try to meet you tomorrow again. I mean, let's not try, but most probably we'll meet tomorrow para to cope up the some lessons kay sayang. Only that I'll just have to comply or to make myself clear for me to continue teaching, no? Okay? So, since this is our first meeting, it's our tradition to please do this na makita mo visible para atong ibutang sa unsa na sa my day. Joke lang. Sige bitaw, everyone, can you make yourself visible? Okay, that's good. Yan, di ba? Oh, tora, sexy, guwapa. Yan, Myla, Diana, Angelo. Yan, very good. Yan. So, i-prepare niyo yourselves po sa ano na to ay mas faster jud ato ang pacing ani kay again dali ra kayo ng 6 ka weeks, no? 6 ka weeks ang ato ang ano ani 6 weeks. So medyo pas jud na. Ahon, Meg, asa man you? Asa naman you? Ikaw na lang mong gihulat para makaligo na tagdagat.
Where na you? I'm here na.
Yes, we're yan. Okay. So, smile. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Once again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 smiles. All right. So, I guess that would be all for now. Do you want the recording? The
Yes,
video?
sir. Yes,
Sige.
sir.
So, I'll send it to you later. And thank you guys for attending the class for our first meeting and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you, sir.
sir.
Bye, sir.